Okay, it's 2 o'clock. Let's bring the CPOC committee to order. Do we have any no public speakers today? That's great. The committee work plan, do we have any changes or alterations?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We moved the New York City Transit Station programs and West End Line Stations risk assessment from May to July to make room for the big month on megas in May.
Right. Before I go back to item one, I just want to say that next month there will be all of the risk analysis work done, especially for east side access. I just want everyone to be aware in that risk analysis that the FTA has made some indications, at least, that they'd like to be involved in that. Unfortunately, that might slow us up, but what we will do is we will come to the committee with with what we believe the risk analysis will be, subject obviously to any comments that we get from the Federal Transit Administration. I still want to hold to that May time frame so that you're all aware of what we're facing at 2nd Avenue. East Side Access, as well as 2nd Avenue, but nonetheless, we'll do that. Item one is approval of the minutes from our meeting on March 26th. Do I have a motion? Any questions, changes, edits? There being none, all in favor say aye. Motion carries. Item two is a transit report on the Mother Clara Hale Depot. Sonia?
Thank you. My name is Sonia Jaising. I'm from CPM, New York City Transit. And it is a pleasure for me to present to you the status update for the Mother Clara Hale Bus Depot. The contract, which is a design-build contract, it was awarded in November 2, 2010, and had a construction duration of 32 months. That meant a substantial completion date of July 2013. The current forecast substantial completion date is August 31, 2013. New York City Transit is evaluating any additional concerns we may have on the schedule. We had done a risk assessment study in February 2010 that had a 37-month construction duration, which had a substantial completion date of December 2013. This assessment had an 80% confidence level. This contract was awarded to Silverite Construction for $214 million. It is 27% complete and it is on budget. The prime consultant for Silverite is STV, and New York City Transit has chosen to go the consultant construction management and have hired Shaw Environmental for their CCM part. The project is in 3 levels. The Mother Clara Hale Depot is in 3 levels. The first level, when built, will house bus fueling, bus washing and maintenance activity. The second and third levels will have indoor parking for buses, and we can accommodate 150 bus equivalents. There will be employment facilities on the mezzanine for between the second and the third floor. Next slide, please. The exterior facade of the building comprises of precast panels, metal panels, solar panels, and translucent panels for the window areas. The metal panel for the facade will be completed in October 2012. As a side note, this building is constructed going from west to east, and the contractor has divided this building in 3 parts. We call it Building A, B, and C, starting from Adam Clayton Boulevard going up to Lenox Avenue. So the precast panel work, which will start on May 2012, will be for Building A. The roof concrete work will also start in May 2012. Actually, last Friday, they were a little ahead of the schedule for the roof work. They have finished part of the roof work for Building A. Structural steel work, which had started in January 2012, will be completed by July 2012. Precast panel work is ongoing. We have finished 95% of the precast panels for Building A. Building B, the fabrication is ongoing. We should get the panels on the job site by the end of this month. We should complete all the precast panel work by October 2012. The concrete slab work will also be completed by October 2012. Currently, they have poured slabs for level 1, level 2, level 3, and part of the roof for Building A. So for this part, they probably will be ahead of schedule for the October. Next slide, please. This slide incorporates two things: the lessons learned from the design-build contracts from 100th Street to Grand Avenue, Charleston, and the risk assessment study, which was done in February 2010. They had identified 101 items on the risk assessment. The next two slides will talk of some of the challenges we face and the mitigations we have in place. Scope changes. All major scope changes are elevated at the senior management level of Department of Buses and CPM prior to it negotiated. We have kept change orders to its minimum. To date, we have six AWOs, and we've negotiated 2 of them for a dollar value of $29,000. The design process is ongoing. The design-build contractor broke out the entire design package into 6 parts. We have issued 11 construction permits to date. The final package is currently under review. It is the building envelope and fit-out. Our collaborative effort between Capital Program Management and Department of Buses is working quite well. Next. Community concerns was one of the items identified in the assessment. New York City Transit is working very closely with the community. We attend all the Mother Clara Health Task Force meetings. We have kept the community updated on any street closures, construction activities. The community has been very receptive and responsive. One of the items they look into was the MBE, WBE goals. The contract calls for 10% MBE and 5% WBE. To date, we are 11.5 and 7.5 on our goals. Commissioning, testing, and acceptance is always a challenge in design-build projects. We have put in monthly commissioning meetings. They are ongoing. We approved the commissioning plan as of January 2012. We have identified all the team players for the plan. We have put the testing and acceptance criteria has been approved and implemented. We've also formalized the templates for all the pre-final and final checklists. One of the key successes to a project is phasing and construction staging. Recently, we met with DOT for street closures and construction phasing for 2 capital projects. One was the Mother Clara Health project, and one is the Lenox Avenue project. That project spans from 141st Street to 147th and required street excavation in front of our site. We met with both the contractors. We came up with a consolidated phasing and staging plan. We presented that plan to DOT. We went to the Transportation Community Board with that plan, and we presented it to the Mother Clara Health Task Force. Everybody has brought into the plan. We have our permits for both the contracts, and work is ongoing. We also received approval from Con Edison for the transformer walls and the network protection rooms for permanent service. Third quarter of this year, we will go back to them for them to release their equipment for their permanent service. We've also received approval from DOT for the New York City Builders Payment Plan for all the sidewalk work and the tree planting. Next. These are some of the major milestones. the 100% design submission is 6 weeks delayed in submission. We were supposed to get it in November 2011. We got it in December. We have issued 227 RFIs. The pile driving was on schedule, completed November 2011. The foundation walls on schedule, completed 2012. Building enclosure is right now projected to be completed by December 2012. This is an old photograph of the depot. The depot spans from 146th to 147th Street. The depot was demolished in early part of 2010. All the soil remediation and environmental work also were completed prior to the award of the Mother Clara Hill project. This sits on a 2.98 acreage property. The current facility will have a footprint of 200 feet by 650 feet. And it's going to have a gross square footage of 420,000 square feet. Next. This is the foundation walls which are ongoing, which got completed in February. Next. The steel work, structural steel started in January, will be completed in July. This is the Building A erection of structural steel. Building B is about 90% complete. Next. This is the precast panel installation. Some of these panels are quite big. The biggest we have is 40 feet by 8 feet. We've installed 44 of them. Next. This is another photograph of the panels. The concrete pour for all the ramps is ongoing. This is Building A. We have poured the ramps for Building A for first level, second level, third level, and for the roof.
Yes, good afternoon. The independent engineer agrees with the revised project schedule, however, has a concern about the additional potential scheduling concerns raised by New York City Transit in their presentation. Also, the independent engineer agrees with the project is currently on budget. Our only critical issue with this project is that they evaluate the additional potential scheduling concerns as soon as possible to validate the schedule. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Merdler.
May I respectfully suggest, if you have not already done so, that you might touch base with the Department of Sanitation in connection with the construction that they have undergone of the garage facility and ramp facilities on 56th Street and I guess it's 12th Avenue at that point. They ran into some last-minute snags which were both expensive and time-consuming.
Right.
You may be able to avoid that.
Much of this design is very similar to the design that we have on 100th Street at the 100th Street Depot, which is the now named after the Tuskegee Airmen. In fact, if you saw from the facade, it looks exactly same facade, same style, and that's been open and running. And we took what we learned there into this facility. This facility will be larger, but nonetheless, we understand the problems that they had at DOS. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Next, we have Steve Barang on our rolling stock investment strategy. More pictures.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Barang. I'm Director of Capital Program Management for the MTA. I'm here today to give you an update on our strategic rolling stock initiative. As part of the approval of the recent funding amendment for the 2010 through 2014 capital program, we committed to a series of savings initiatives that would reduce the cost of the program by $2 billion without reducing any of the benefits of the program. To help to achieve this, rolling stock at over $3.5 billion in the 10 to 14 capital program was clearly going to be a key element to achieving those efficiencies. To help pursue the goals of delivering the efficiencies of the planned rolling stock procurement, we hired Oliver Wyman last summer and kicked off this initiative in July. In light of where various rolling stock procurements were in the procurement cycle, for example, the R179s and the R188s were pretty advanced, and the M9s and much of New York City Transit's bus procurement program were early on, they received different types of benefits. Last October, we reported to this committee on the results of Phase 1. As reported then, Phase 1 was primarily an information-gathering exercise with a focus on the material that would be needed in order to develop deliverables for Phase 2. The Phase 2 deliverables included savings produced by quick wins and enabling activities for future savings, development of various life cycle cost models for New York City Transit subway cars, New York City Transit buses, and commuter rail coaches for Metro North and Long Island Railroad, knowledge transfer and training for MTA staff, and proposals for future savings opportunities. Quick wins and enabling activities covered all three modes. Quick wins are exactly that, quick wins that result in savings. Enabling activities set the stage for future cost savings. Like, for example, post-award product cost-down language inserted into the contract language that allows the MTA and the vendor to discuss mutual ways to save money as we proceed through the design phase. The type of support that was provided for each procurement varied depending on where the procurement cycle the individual procurements were. For subway, there was a focused support for the recently completed R179 and R188 purchases, as well as some support for the initial processes for the R211 procurements, which are expected in the 2015 to 2019 plan. For bus, there was involvement in the recent C&G procurement, as well as in the upcoming express bus procurement. For the Long Island Railroad and Metro North, there was a focus on activities that enabled future savings for the M9 procurement. When Phase 2 began, we had forecast a savings of $4 to $8 million. At the conclusion of Phase 2, we can safely say that we have achieved a savings of $7.4 million as compared to the budget. The savings were achieved due to a joint MTA Oliver Wyman task force that worked on two bus procurements. A little over $3 million was saved through negotiation support for the 40-foot C&G bus procurement, and by virtue of a fleet needs analysis for the upcoming express bus procurement, which showed that for that particular procurement, we could reduce it by 6 buses or 10%. We saved approximately $4.3 million. As a result of the success of the bus savings initiatives, we anticipate incorporating some of these initiatives into future rolling stock procurements. Another key deliverable for Phase 2 were a series of life cycle cost models that were developed for various types of rolling stocks for all three modes. These models are designed to assist procurements by considering the whole life cycle cost of proposed vehicles. The third deliverable was the transferring of knowledge to MTA staff to be applied to future procurements. This happened by working side by side as well as through various training sessions. The last deliverable for the Rolling Stock Initiative were proposals for future savings. The proposed savings initiatives are listed here and include support activities for ongoing or upcoming subway procurements, negotiation support for various bus procurements, as well as the M9 procurement. In the final analysis, it was decided that since MTA staff have already internalized the good practices and lessons learned from this initiative, that the agencies would be better off pursuing these savings initiatives using in-house forces with support from the independent engineering consultant. And, if needed, additional targeted third-party consultant work would be provided. Going forward, the agencies will report to CPOC as part of their regular reporting on how these savings initiatives are being incorporated into rolling stock procurements. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Am I correct in understanding that you have worked, are working with the various MTA components in the process of working on the procurements, the negotiations, and the like? Is that correct?
It was enabling activities for subway and for Metro North and Long Island Railroad, and it was involved in the negotiation for the CNG bus procurement and for some enabling activities for the express bus procurement.
What input have you provided, if any, with respect to the advancement of competition in terms of their solicitation from other manufacturers than those that they have been accustomed to dealing with?
In the one procurement that was at the right time in the procurement cycle to do that, which was the M9, there was an active involvement in enlarging the pool of applicants for the RFI, and I believe they had 6 respondents, including one from Korea, one from Spain, as well as the usual people who have participated in the past, and that was an expansion from what we had previously expected.
Am I correct that Oliver Wyman represents various manufacturers in various areas? I'm not focusing on a conflict. I'm just understanding the scope of Oliver Wyman's expertise.
They do work with manufacturers of rolling stock, yes.
Is it possible for Oliver Wyman to expand the solicitation efforts to those people for which it acts? In other words, on procurements for whatever they may be, to widen the horizons, to determine new people that might compete, to give them an opportunity and to develop new ways in which those solicitations can effectively be made?
In the Phase 2 work that they did that for the M9 procurement.
And was it successful in the sense that the horizons were expanded?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I noticed you had the R-142 fleet listed with the 179s, the 188s, and the 211s. Is that because we're getting a new batch of those, or is that something that's been done retroactively to that fleet?
It was a life cycle. It was what the life cycle cost model was based on. You can't base it on a fleet you don't have. You have to go back and look at a fleet you do have, and what you do is you look for a fleet that has some similarities to a fleet that you anticipate receiving, and so that's what we based the life cycle cost model on.
I see. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you, Steve. I appreciate it very much. Quarterly update on our MWDBE participation. Mr. Garner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a snapshot of the MWBE goals versus results for the first three months of this year. If you look at our FTA-funded projects, the current goal is...
You got the wrong chart. The wrong charts are up there.
Do we have that chart on the slide? Maybe not. Just refer to this in the book. Slide 4.
Yeah, let's put the lights on. We'll put this back on in a second.
Yeah, you can't see it on the chart, so.
Okay.
All right.
So the chart is on page 4.1, tab 4.1. So this is a snapshot of the first three months with respect to our MWDBE goals versus actuals. The FTA-funded projects, the current actual is 10%. And we had one major contract awarded in the month of January, which brought our numbers down. And that contract was awarded for $262 million for signal work, in which there were a finite few of DBE firms who specialize in that work. Therefore, the actual numbers, the actual goal was not met in the first 3 months of this year. If you look at our state-funded projects, we are exceeding our goals because of 2 reasons. The first reason is that we are awarding prime contracts in the mentor program to state-certified firms. The state has also given us the goal and the credit towards MWBE inclusion on our FTA-funded projects. So the goal there is that the state has said that they don't care where or who funds a contract, as long at the end of the day that MWBE firms are getting contract awards. And so, therefore, we are beating our goals with respect to our state-certified goals. Also, the story here and the message is this: if we are going to rely on third-party contractors to drive our process, to meet and achieve our goals. It's not going to happen because there are too many variables involved. The way that we should be doing this is reinventing the way that we do business and creating prime contract opportunities for our MW and DBE firms. And the mentor program is a perfect vehicle for that. We are also in conversations right now as we speak with the FTA and getting them to approve our mentor program on our FTA-funded projects. Once that program is approved, we will see a rise and a spike in our numbers because we will create prime contract opportunities for our DBE firms on our federal funded projects.
On the areas in which you have been able to get these contracts, are these discrete contracts or are they part of a whole? Are they joint ventures? What are they?
Yes, in the mentor program, we go through a process of debundling larger projects, so we create prime contract opportunities for the MW and DBE firms.
And they come in as prime contractors?
As prime contractors.
Can I say one word of caution? I'd like to remind everybody it took us almost 3 years to get it through as an approved program for the state, and I've not known the feds to be any faster than that. So this is a worthy goal, but I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks. And we are talking. We spoke with them as recent as 2 weeks ago, and they asked some pointed questions. We responded by forwarding over information, and so we are going to circle back this week.
Duly noted. Duly noted. Now we're going to move into the small business mentoring program, which we'll have up on the board with both Michael and Emil Patel.
Hi. So as we come closer to the end of the second year of our small business mentoring program, we wanted to bring you an update as to where we stand. Year one, we had awarded 25 projects worth about $13.9 million, including change orders, out of which about 17 have been substantially completed or closed out, worth about $9.5 million. In year two, we have awarded 13 projects worth $5.9 million, out of which one is substantially completed or closed out. We are on our way to meeting our target goal of $25 million between year one and two as of now. So here we have laid out all the projects that we have awarded so far and what we plan to award for the balance of the year, which ends in July. The ones in red are what we have awarded. The ones in blue is yet to be bid in the second quarter. And as you can see, most of our jobs are within the 5 boroughs, but we have jobs all the way up north in Port Jervis, Poughkeepsie, east in Ronkonkoma, Stony Brook, and Central Islip. So we have our projects well spread out. We had set ourselves some goals, as we had mentioned earlier, and this is where we stand with our goals as of today. We've been meeting our goals except in 2 areas. Awards are slightly higher, as you can see, only because we had to bring contractors in for technical qualifications. Again, we needed additional information on a few jobs, and that's why the average has edged up a little bit to 11.2. The change orders are 17.7, which needs improvement on all parties. We're working towards that. The rest of the goals are well below our set goals. As part of the Small Business Mentoring Program best practices, we have embraced technology to improve efficiency. One of the things is using Constructware for all our Small Business Mentoring Program projects. So far, we started with a pilot program where we had 18 projects on, and going forward, we're going to have all our projects in Constructware, where the contractors we are also going to encourage contractors to come in and provide their submittals via Constructware online, so there is less paper. Turnaround time is much quicker. We have also had BNT, MNR, and LIRR, who normally don't use Constructware for construction, have also started getting on and helping us with approving submittals as well. Next thing is we also have instituted a risk management process. As part of that, we engage all the stakeholders, including the contractors, to identify and mitigate risks on every job at every progress meeting. So it helps us, eliminate any safety concerns. Payment controls. We also ensure that all our subcontractors, vendors, and suppliers have been paid for the monies that we have paid to date before we make the next payment. And in order for that, we have instituted lien releases that we get from the suppliers prior to making the following payment. Michael?
Thanks, Emil. And we heard you loud and clear with your preference for this mentoring program to be more than a 5-borough-based program. And so we've been going around to each county recruiting firms to partake in the program. There's still one county in which we do not have any firms, and that's Putnam.
Correct.
Putnam County. And I've been in contact with Bob to schedule a outreach session up there for a third time so we can finally market the program and get firms into the program. But we hear you loud and clear. This program is going to serve all of the counties in which the MTA services.
We noted in our pre-meeting that we will include in this those counties we serve. We have some counties here that are actually in New Jersey. We will also be adding those counties that we serve in Connecticut, which will also help with some help in Metro North and the upper regions.
Right. So we have a training program in which 82 firms have gone through our training program, and the goal of the training program is to create or assist firms into finishing our projects safely, timely, and on budget. And there are a average between 35 and 40 companies in each one of our classes. And the actual results that we are getting back, that our training program is bringing value to the firms who are sitting in on the training. In the loan program, there's been 4 loans approved. It is our goal before this year ends in a mentor program, which will be in July, to issue at least 10 loans during this year. And the breakdown of the M and W and DBE firms are noted. MBE firms, there are 107 firms that are pre-qualified in the program, 18 WBEs and 42 DBEs. So this program is creating opportunities for our MW and DBE firms. So this was a most recent outreach event that we had. Last fall, I was invited to San Juan to speak at a business conference. There are a lot of firms based in San Juan, Puerto Rico, who have bonding experience of doing major work. The goal here was to bring those firms here and host them, to create joint venture with firms here that's state certified, so they can start bidding on our projects as prime contractors as a way of driving up our MWBE numbers. And basically, what was once a one-day event turned into a 3-day event with the White House involvement, and also the governor's office was involved. And the White House indicated that they were so satisfied with the outcomes that they're going to use this template in other regions of the country. And thanks to Freddie Ferrer, who saw the value of this conference. And so we worked in tandem together to make sure that the conference was in fact hosted, and there's going to be measurable results. And as a matter of fact, I've been in contact with 2 firms in Puerto Rico, and we are going to link them with some firms here to start the conversations about the joint venture and how they can bid on our projects as prime contractors. So thank you.
Is this a video?
Yes, it is.
In March, the MTA hosted the New Partners to Build New York conference to create business opportunities for New York minority, women, and disadvantaged business owners.
It is our obligation and focus to create opportunities for state-certified firms in order to create jobs in neighborhoods where historically there had not been any job creation. And so essentially we are going to include our state-certified firms in our buying out process.
The purpose of the conference and workshop is to open a dialogue between government and local business owners who would not normally have a chance to meet face to face.
The new paradigm is to build programs first and then go out and recruit firms. So we are currently awarding a record number of contracts to state-certified minority women-owned firms as we speak right now, and the best is yet to come.
So what made this event unique? Members of the business community from the island of Puerto Rico came out to learn how to do business with the MTA and other government agencies.
The businesses community from Puerto Rico and from New York. Why? Because it's important that we teach the businesses from Puerto Rico how to do business in New York. It's not easy.
But before one can do business with any government agency, they should check out their website. And obtaining certification is a good idea.
Well, the entire process takes 90 days. The applicant will submit an application with support documentation, as followed by an interview with the applicant, which is then followed by a site visit to their locations. After that, a review is prepared to demonstrate whether or not they meet the federal guidelines for certification.
And there is hope for the small business owner.
Let me tell you, benefits. I'm a small organization who employs 65 employees, and my organization consists of minority employees from the local neighborhoods. The more business I get from the MTA and the other agencies, the more people I'm able to hire.
The MTA and minority business firms are working together to build a better New York. I'm Celeste Faraji reporting for Transit News.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from any members? Okay, there being none, our last item is Steve Morang. It's a capital program status report update.
The report is in the book. I'm happy to answer. I think it speaks for itself. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Linda has announced that she is retiring at the end of May, and earlier today I made an announcement that Hillary Ring will be the next director of capital programs, senior director, for capital programs here at the MTA. So wanted everyone to be aware of that. With that, if there are no further questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thank you.